Shot for goal, shot for goal, shot for goal, shot for goal! Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you may be tuning in from. Thanks for joining us on Shot for Goal. I'm Stefan Rapazzo alongside Noah, Brinkworth, and we are bringing you what's happening right now in the world of Ultimate. And there's a lot happening. Noah, how you doing?
I'm doing very good, Steph. Just had a lovely weekend of playing Frisbee and watching. Had a little road trip down to Heilbronn for summer tour, and that gave me loads of time sitting in the back of the car to watch some great games from US Open. I had the pleasure of listening to your voice calling those games, Steph, and they were mighty exciting.
Yeah, there was a lot of good games, and that's where we'll start. We get US Open. We're going to talk about the EUCS qualifying series and the summer tours Noah was at and beyond. And then we'll take a look at what is legit happening right now, the Youth Championship, as well as what's coming up, and, the 4Nations, and a little bit of the World Games we'll just touch on, because we'll address that next week once it will be into its day one. But US Open, Noah, yeah, like you said, some great games. A little bit of a focus on the European and foreign teams there. But let's start in the divisions that did not have any European teams and two Colombian teams in the mixed division. And going over to mixed, it was a victory for Hybrid, the defending national champions. Got it done once again. They took down Austin Disco Club in the final. It's 15-13, tight game. Disco Club got through Dragon Thrust on Universe Point in a spectacular game. Loved that one. Dragon Thrust just got through BFG. I got to call that one. But a lot of, mixed in the U.S., Noah, is so unpredictable. It was interesting to see that a team that was probably predicted a defending champion to get through, but nothing was ever sure. Did you get to catch much of the mixed division yourself?
I watched bits and pieces. I think I watched probably the least mixed. I watched the rally slow quarter final where and yeah, I had a little bit of a look at the final as well. I mean, Hybrid, obviously the returning national champions. I think I predicted that they would face off against Slow in the final, but I didn't fully understand the schedule, so they ended up being the semi-final. I mean, coming into the tournament, the other team in the final, Austin Disco Club, had kind of been written off. People thinking that this team that maybe people were power ranking in the sort of 6 to 12 range, maybe they were getting a little bit weaker, losing Carl Henke, but they showed up and made it all the way to the final. That tight universe win over Dragon Thrust. But I think Hybrids is going to go into the season as the favourites. Obviously, Aaron Bartlett was super strong. We've got Nathan Champeau doing great things on defense as he always does, and Rachel Mast topping the goals. With
Jonathan Mast and
Jonathan
Rachel
Mast on the other side.
Both of them were very, very good. I thought Bartlett was particularly impressive, especially after seeing him at under 24s, seeing the youngsters kind of providing. He was pulling a lot of weight. And Hybrid, yeah, they just every time it looked like there was a comeback against them. And I only saw 2 games of Hybrid, and not even full games. We get very busy on the ground there as well, of course. But I felt like anytime they were looking for something, going to Bartlett seemed like a really good answer for them. They could count on him. Mostly what I saw, it was like a big-bodied receiver catching goals and kind of sky in packs. But, of course, he was doing a bit of it on all ends, distributing, playing some tough defense. It was, great to see in the mixed division. Let's move right along to the women's division, Noah. Any surprise to you that it was Fury taking the victory?
Not surprised there, but Steph surprised in other parts of the tournament. I was glued to the screen watching Scandal versus BFD Shout, a game in pool play that Shout managed to take down, and I was pretty hyped about that. That was a absolutely huge win for the Shout team, and I was wondering if we were gonna eat our words from the podcast because I don't think we perhaps gave Shout the respect they deserved. Um, and look, like the rest of the tournament didn't go quite so well for Shout. They didn't make it past the pre-quarter stage, falling to Molly Brown by two. But I think it's really, I think that beyond finishing position, what these European teams are coming to do is to go out there to take the scalps of a couple like top elite teams, to lose that fear of playing the US teams for when we get to the World Club season. And I think in a lot of ways, even though Shout finished in the 9-12 bracket, there's a lot of positives to take.
Yeah, I mean they put it out there. The big win against Scandal, they couldn't bounce back against Benton. That was a streamed game, and that's probably their weakest performance for Shout of the weekend, which kind of sucks on the showcase field for them. I still think they had it in them in that game. It just nothing was kind of coming to full fruition. They could move it up the field, give it away, and credit to Bent. They played a great game. They ended up making the final. Sorry, they did not. They lost to Fury in the semi, but had a great weekend. BFD Shout goes down to Molly Brown 15-13. Molly, a great, great team. But that was a big story, was the next round, the quarterfinals. Noah, did you happen to catch the score of that quarterfinal between Fury and Molly Brown, and or read the article about it?
I read the article. I have thoughts as well. I didn't actually
1.
I didn't watch the game, but I've read the article, and yeah. I mean, the article kind of suggests it's not the sort of game you want to go back and watch. It's a pretty brutal. But there was some chatter about whether the article was too harsh, and I think that there was incredible levels of softness displayed by the Frisbee community based on that article. Like, totally jovial, fun article about a shocking result from one of the top teams. I mean, how could you possibly punch down on one of the most elite women's programs of all time? I just think that teams need to have a bit of a thicker skin, to be honest, to do it.
Yeah, I mean, it's justifiable. That score made waves throughout the tournament. Everybody was talking about it immediately. Article totally justified. I was sitting with a bit of Molly Brown watching the very end of the Open final, and they were like, "Yeah, that article was crap," and I was like, "I didn't even read the article, but you guys lost 15-1." I think there's some justification there. You guys should let that go. In about as many words as that, and then the conversation moved on, and that was it. But Molly, of course, missing 3 World Games players, potentially, some of the very best in Manu and Vale, Claire Chastain, one of the Talus persons of Molly Brown, unavailable. But still, like, it is not a 3-person team over there at Molly Brown. They had a pretty good weekend too. So when you do implode for a game, this is the highest level of ultimate in the land, certainly in the US, certainly potentially in all of the world. And when you get blown up like that, people can talk. So there's one way to avoid that: don't get blown up.
I mean, I don't want to talk about this for too long, but I've kind of been wondering why this Molly Brown team in the Manu and Vale era hasn't had more success, right? You go and watch WUC 2024. Manu, that Colombia team has depth, but Manu and Vale are carrying, right? And they challenge very strongly and win against the US team, which is all of the best players from every other US club. But then Manu and Vale come to Molly Brown, and they don't just dominate the US club division. They won 1 title in 2023, and I'm wondering, am I overestimating the depth of Molly Brown, or is there some system stuff that means that Manu and Vale playing in Colombia can do much more for the team? I think that given that Colorado has the Colorado women's team college program, name escapes me.
Colorado women's team
Colorado Quandary. That's such a successful team. There's talent. There's a lot of talent playing women's ultimate in Denver. It surprises me that they haven't been more successful. And then you come to this tournament without a lot of your top players, and they finished well. And I think actually that Shout win looks pretty good, especially after Shout go and get 9th place in the pool and beat Flipside and Grit on the back end. So games get away from you, but like I would love to see like a Molly Brown that looked more like Colombia, if that made sense, Steph.
Well, we'll see if they end up moving that way. For now, let's move away from Molly Brown. I think we'll talk about Fury in a second. They're awesome. They're Fury. But I think the real big story was Seattle Riot rising back to a final. They've been a long time out. They have been bridesmaiding to Fury in championships and tournament finals for all too long, and that happened again. But their rise to the finals, they went undefeated until the final, beating Molly Brown 15-13, Vice 15-2, then another tight one, knockoff Bent 13-11, Parcha 15-8. Brute Squad game I watched on the sideline. I think I ended up on stream punching back a couple M&Ms, enjoying the show. But that was a great game. And, Brute Squad took a 4 or 3 point run early in that game, and it felt like they, extinguished the hot start by Riot. There was a bit of a hot start, nothing crazy, maybe 1 or 2, like a hold and a break, I believe. I'm not going back and looking, but then, 3 or 4 in a row for Brute Squad. Lev kind of looked like she was heating up. I kind of left for a bit, and I came back, and it was like a 2-point lead, 9-7 perhaps, and I was like, oh, it must be Brute in front. And the closer I got to the scoreboard, I was like, oh, whoa, no, dark on the scoreboards in front. That's Riot. And, there was no looking back. I watched the second half, and they were really shutting down Brute Squad. It was probably the least affected by World Games. They had most of their roster there. And to be humbled by a Riot team that is on the rise, sure, they get a lot of young, but they've got a lot of veterans there too. And I guess because they haven't overperformed in the last couple of years, it was such a big surprise. I talked to a couple of the Brute crew afterwards, talking to Angela Zhu. I was like, you guys happy with this? Yeah, we should have played better. She did give the respect to Riot and said, we saw them move the whole way through the tournament, but we still kind of expected it to be a more manageable game. We didn't play our best, but kind of hats off to Riot. They played a great game.
When you think about who's going to take the title in 2025, how much do you chalk this up to Riot being better than we expected versus these other teams not being quite so good, having World Games misses?
There was a lot of talk about this. There was a lot of mention, even in interviews and stuff, like preseason. This is the preseason. But people would correct themselves and be like, oh, no, it's, early season. And I think there was a lot of that. Teams were playing with their rosters. Teams were playing with their lineups. Teams were playing with their strategies and their tactics, what they're calling. They're also accommodating for missing players. There was a lot of injured players who, as soon as there was a tweak, would stop playing and were out. And nobody wanted to really press it. So you did get this gauge of it being I don't know, if everybody was healthy, that you could put the foot down a bit and go for it. But as soon as there was missing players, as soon as there was a short roster, people had teams had excuses. And I do think they were valid and legitimate for them to kind of rest, take the foot off, and not worry about the results. They get their reps one way or the other, whether they're reps winning or reps losing. You get those high-end reps, hard hits. Even a team that gets thumped here, okay, maybe not 15-1, but 15-7s and 15-5s and 15-10s, you still can take a lot from that, playing top teams, running at full pace. And so yeah, I think there is that. But when you look at the top on both sides, those teams were churning. Like you look at Fury, okay, no Finney, no Thompson, no problem. They ran 3 lines. They had the uh, honorable assistant coach, stand-in assistant coach Davide Mori, who was actually an intern, but he told me he was an assistant coach. I went and talked to Maddie Sang. I was like, "Hey, here you got a new assistant coach." He's like, "Well, we kind of framed it as an internship to him, but if that's what he's saying, whatever. He's on our sideline. The team knows." But they were firing on all cylinders. Of course, you've probably all seen the Irena Scazzieri piece. She's picking up where she left off last year. She was the top goal scorer in the women's division at U.S. Nationals in San Diego last year. Boom, right back in the top. 5 goals in the final. Irena Scazzieri is turning into an unguardable end zone machine. Her pace is phenomenal. And Fury is very good at allowing her to exploit her strength, leaving her upfield, allowing her to be an anticipator, a continuation player. And she does it so well. She's getting used to it even more now in her 3rd year with Fury. She knows what to expect. She knows when to cut. She stretches the field so effectively. And I mean, I'm proud of Irena. I know she better be proud of herself. I'm sure she is, but she's one of those players who kind of makes all of Europe proud to see how well she's doing, contributing so much to one of the toughest championships to win. So Fury were
100%.
awesome. It was certainly not just Irena. Contributions all over, as you would expect.
I mean, I thought that there's been some clips as well as Irena coming out of Shayla Harris. It seems like she has another posterizing sky like every other tournament, every other month. And she's going to be a player that I wonder when, if games doesn't go exactly as the US want, that maybe it's a player that Maddie Sang will wish he had out in China, because I think that she is incredibly talented, got the most blocks for Fury at this tournament, and also scored a big bunch of goals.
Yeah, I did see a whole lot of Shayla Harris getting up. I mean, just watching Fury, knowing their best 2 players aren't there, and you still got Nazarov, Ellie Mellick, Harris, KJ, Megan Liu. And it's like, oh man, is anybody ever going to be able to stop them? I think this year they are on the start of what could be a warpath. They're just too good, and they're getting their best 2 players back. Look out for Fury.
I mean, looking at these goal stats, after Scazzieri, we have Alison Tsuji, Sonia Johansson, McKinley McQuaid, and those are 3 names that you really don't come to your mind when you initially think about Fury. Getting that much out of players that are not necessarily new, but maybe have not been the top contributors every tournament, every time, is super strong, and it's a testament to the Fury program. And it feels like they're perhaps a bigger favorite for the national title than there's been in any division since the pandemic.
Yeah, I agree with that completely. Let's move on to the men's division. I was about to say open, but over there in the US, it is definitely the men's division. We'll start with our Europeans. They had to play each other a bit too much, I'm sure. They didn't love that. I was on the sideline in the last game before the La Foto clap. I'm like, clapping guys, like, whatever, let's do it again. We see him so much, but these are still great reps. And I was talking to Justin. He's like, actually, we haven't played La Foto that recently, so we're up for it. La Foto took that game. La Foto was great, actually. The win against Chen, I saw, a couple points in the middle, a couple points at the end. I actually had the luxury of being on a golf cart in that round, so I was kind of just whipping from field to field. There was some of the power pools going on at the same time, so I was watching some of Moon versus Pony, and then a Universe point game, Truck versus Dig. That Dig got that win. That was, super great game. Those teams all advanced except for Pony to the semifinals. They got eliminated. it was Revolver who knocked them off and took their place. But all other power pool winners went on to play semis. Clapham 0-2 and Lafutta 0-2 in their pool plays. Mooncatchers 2-0. Moon were great. Moon, I think, stole everybody's hearts at the tournament. They, they beat Machine in probably Machine's only decent game. Machine imploded after that one. Then who'd they beat next? My brain's dropping out on me, so I'm just gonna go check. But men's, here we are. Yeah, why aren't you working, brain?
The Moon Quarter.
No, not the Moon Quarter. The Moon Pool play.
It was Machine then Chain.
Then
No?
Chain.
Yeah.
That's right. They beat Chain. And Chain had already beaten Machine, so Machine were in all sorts of trouble. And
They finished 11th. Not a great weekend for Machine. But
no,
you were on the call for that game, no, Steph? The Machine Moon game.
yes,
It was weirdly like Machine were kind of not that bothered in a way.
yeah.
I don't know.
These are one of the teams that I blamed them or accused them on stream of, like, are they not even trying right now? Like, because they're running 3 lines, which they've never done, like 3 balanced lines. Like, I talked to Tim Shock. He did say legitimately that they were giving it a try to see how it worked, but also because they're missing Don and Soph, and Joe's not back, and he may not be back. Nate Goff resting his ankle, playing 1 game a day only. But he was playing that game. They took a lead before half, and then they were up until what, 11-9 or something, and then Moon scored a bunch in a row, and I think finished on a 6-2 run or something like that. So yeah, they didn't seem bothered. I don't know what was up with Machine, but they were not themselves. I do expect they're going to be better than that for one reason or not, because they're getting their 2 Belgians back who were performing sensationally with Mooncatchers. But Don and Soph going back will definitely be fine. But let's talk about those Mooncatchers. Like,
They
they
might be getting
were
a certain American back as well in Joe White, who
might
is
be,
not
but
Dan.
they might be, but all signs are pointing to no. As far as my little on the ground research goes, is that it's more likely going to be Joe coming back next season.
The thing is, Dan was so good that it's like you still like their odds. Like,
Yeah.
I'm loving any team that has Dan Desmarais. Steph, was so good. Like,
He's unstoppable right now. Like, I don't even know what his greatest strength is. Is it? I do think it is his shiftiness. His agility is what nobody can contend with, because he gets fast in a straight line, of course, but his ability to move in a phone booth and to lose somebody in a single step is mind blowing. And I do think that's what nobody else can kind of capture that he has. So yeah, Don was awesome. Arvid's was really good. I thought that was a breakout tournament for him on a world stage, even though it was a US stage, but like a world viewership. Yeah, Soph was really good as well. I think Soph always plays a bit of a Robin role. He's never the top dog, and I don't think he minds. Even Jerome de Ritter was a great goal scorer for this team. Ref Yonkers led the team in assists, in fact. He looked good, but he looked a bit normal compared to last time at Belgian Nationals. I think this is his first long tournament, big tournament. I do still like his progression, but I think he's still got just a bit more rust to shake off.
what do you think about Barzazi coming into this team?
Yeah, Barsazi was great. Actually, that was Barsazi's greatest tournament. Evan Lepler was super impressed with Barsazi. He didn't know anything about him before, and he's like, "This guy is something." I agreed. I felt bad for him. He had to throw that last turnover, the Hail Mary hammer. But I went back and watched it. He got abandoned. There was nobody in the backfield.
I was thinking that too, man.
He had one opportunity for an upline cut that he missed, and that's fair. You can miss a cut, but then from stall 5 onwards, I don't think there was anything within 10 meters of him remotely open. And, and when I saw it live, I was like, yeah, poor guy. Why did he have to do that? And I went back and I was like, they gave him nothing. That's when you're given nothing. It was a shot in the end zone, a floater. Ref touched it first. Like, he gave a chance, and defensively, there was a whole field in front. So he did all right.
Especially because on the catch, Buzz, as he makes this like crazy acrobatic catch, almost slamming his head into the ground. It's like the guy is in a spin cycle. You get up when someone bids and catches the disc, and have to take a couple seconds just to get up off the ground. You don't want them taking something hard, so you got to work hard as a team to give them just something simple to dish off, so that you take responsibility off them. They can get a rest. So it was a little tough for Moon there to not give him a little bit of a better way out. But yeah, Steph, that Moon truck semi-final.
Go back and watch it.
That was ridiculous.
Back and forth. I mean, we'll talk about it briefly. That is one, like, go back and watch that game is what you got to do, really. Like, but it was every twist and turn you could want in a game. Lead changes, short runs, a little bit of trading. You get to see Box shine. Alexandre Fall kind of stole the show there. He had the game of his life. It's a big block in front of ref. He was everywhere. He cut some goals. He had some big blocks. Box was good as usual. Wodach had a huge grab in the end zone. That guy does not age, it seems. I really, that game was easy to enjoy. I felt really bad for Moon in the end. I was obviously pulling for them, some, being impartial as behind the mic, but of course, that's the story that a lot of people were behind. They were the darlings of the tournament, and that game had all the fireworks you could ask for in a game. It didn't go to Universe. It went 15-13, but it could have gone either way. Truck in the end got the breaks.
Yep. Just to wrap up, so our international teams in the end, it was Shout coming 9th, Bunker Shutter Buzz Bullets 12th in the end, despite getting a nice win over the reigning national champions. Clapham finished 8th, La Fota finished 7th, and Mooncatchers finished 4th. Steph, shall we move on? Yeah, I think really solid.
Just quick shout out to the finalists. Revolver beat Truck in the end. So San Francisco wins in 2 divisions, women's, and then we're not going to talk about YCC too much, but YCC Open Division, our boys division, Smoke from Oakland, Bay Area won as well, and they also won in another division, I think under 17 as well. So San Francisco had a really good weekend in Aurora, Colorado last weekend.
Yeah, a great weekend for San Francisco. Shall we move over to Europe, Steph? Summer tour.
Yeah,
most summer tours.
But Noah, let's take a short break here first, and let people know, the wonderful people who support our programs and our events, and we'll be back with action from Europe.
Always on the move? You can keep up to date with ULTI.TV on all of our social media channels. Like, follow, subscribe, share us with a friend, or send us a message just to say hey. Thank you for supporting us in our mission to grow Ultimate everywhere.
Oh my goodness! That is unbelievable! And created the tip and made for it!
That was absolutely incredible!
Steph and Noah bringing you the shot for goal action. I hope you liked our US wrap up. Now straight into EUCS. Noah, you were at one of them, but let's bang through these nice and quick, or as quick as possible. But some big shifts and big things happening from this weekend.
Yeah, I was at UCS Heilbronn, which I think was one of the more events attended by more of the top teams who are playing at these summer tours. Lots of ranking shake-ups. The headline was that in the mixed division, it was TFC Tauscher defeating Deep Space. And based on how that tournament was going, it was a bit of an upset, I would say, Steph. I think that those teams are locked horns and they're very, very close, but Deep Space seemed to have more of their top players. Did miss Layla Denniston, but a lot of their other great pieces, Haukyard, Squires, Tate, Lana Archer, Hannah Yorworth were all there. And especially on the field matching side, TC Tauscher were missing many more pieces. But they go and get the win 15-12 in the finals. It's going to be, I think, between Teef and Deep Space is probably the expected final when we come into it. So it's cool that these teams have another battle. You know, Teef came all the way to London to kind of learn and train with Deep Space. So it'll be fun to see them compete in the final unless someone like Mosquitoes, someone like Tar2 has something to say about it. And in the open division, it was Krut versus Wolf City in the final. And following on from a very, very good performance at Windmill, it was Krut again with the victory. Following on from a great performance at Windmill, Steph, you mentioned Yelta Dirks, and he was the top stat getter at this tournament. 12 assists, 15 goals through 6 games. He is a new threat for Krut that people have to be worried about. From what I was seeing, Vanderbrink and had another fantastic tournament. Some teams having weaker tournaments in Open, though, that are a little bit worrying. I think, there's like 50, 60 teams in Open. They're all in that EUCS ranking, so it's just tricky to make sure you get in the top 16. And Chevy dropped down a lot. They were in the sort of like top 3, 4, 5 region. They're now all the way down towards like 12th, and Gentle sitting in 15th, and they're going to need the other remaining summer tours to fall nicely for them to qualify.
Yeah, disaster for Gentle, potentially for Ranelagh. I mean, I think it puts into question this system of the wild cards, whatever they call the golden tickets. I think it's a wild card. And the strength of these tournaments, how they get allocated. But for Jet Set to get through, on a win. Hang on, I got it up here somewhere.
So they won Summer Tour Horn Slide.
Yeah.
Correct?
I'm just going back up there, Horn Slide. Yeah, so a tournament with Jet Set, UFO, Malmo, Aris, KFK, XVI. I'm sorry, but that just doesn't equate to me that gets randomly selected as the teams that go to this spot. One of those teams, none of those teams, if you look at the ranking, are in the top 20. So now one of them, just all they're going to do is win that tournament. It'll be against a bunch of teams that are playing well below the standard. They just got to win one tournament of schleps. I'm going to say they're not schleps, but in the grand scheme of things, when you're looking at this, that is just it compromises the ranking so much. It negates the strength of this system that they're trying to build. And it's fine. It's an excusable thing, but that is something that has to be corrected in the future because I don't think that makes any sense. Jet Set themselves have put a couple of their best players onto Gentle's roster, assuming Gentle were going to get in, and they weren't. And I guess maybe they did that before they knew who were in these tournaments. And so now Jet Set's going to make it getting through a weak competition, and they're going to lose their top players. And everything we're doing to try and strengthen EUCF now, this is being done and is compromising the top end strength at EUCF when we eventually get there. So that is a bit of a shame. I mean, Bristol.
Steph, you can say the same thing about Sterling. Bristol, Ranelagh, Smash D, and Alba goes to that event. Ranelagh are in the top 16 barely. They're hanging on the 16th seed team, but they're probably not gonna qualify based on this. They need some second order effects to fall nicely their way.
They're the 32 seed right now. Bristol are going to EUCF, and they're barely going to qualify for E2CF.
And like if Ranelagh won that tournament, say, and they're the 16th ranked team, okay, the 16th ranked team won, and that's kind of fair. But then we're saying that the 16th ranked team doesn't have to play like the 17th ranked team to get in, or the 18th ranked team. They just need to be the 32nd, the 33rd, and the 35th best team in Europe. I mean, that just doesn't make any sense. And Steph, I've been seeing more and more people. I mean, like, my team is upset by the system. We don't enjoy it. We're talking about whether we want to do it next year as a thing. Like, would we rather just go and play like
Windmill
G-Spot and Windmill instead? There's other people just saying that like it costs like loads of money for a lot of our team to get to these tournaments. Teams are being more regularly asked to go to places they don't want to go. They're going to have to keep doing that to make these tours fair. That's a balance thing, right? Where you're going to have to ask some people to go places they don't want to go necessarily.
And really they're going to ask them to go further if they want to balance the ranking. There has to be some sort of ranking recognition for these invitations to go out. They have to be able to like balance the level. So it's like, you know, a top seed, a low seed, a middle seed, top seed, low seed, middle seed for each tournament, or else you're going to get 10 low seeds at a tournament and you could win your way in without facing anybody who's in the picture. So it's a shame. Is really what
my final say on this is I think it's not just people like us who are Frisbee nerds who are like on podcasts and things who are like not totally happy with the system. More players I'm talking to just don't really enjoy it. And I think that the EUF should have a rethink about how they're going to go forward. And I think it needs perhaps, look, don't rush it. Like if the next season is the same as this season, it's probably going to be fine, right? But I think we have to recognize that it's just not working brilliantly right now. And I think we need more than just a small tweak. We need a bigger tweak or a bigger rethink.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think we don't need to blow it up, but it as you said, I agree completely. I like the ranking. I like how the algorithm works, but these invitations to where people go and where they play is what let us down this year in the ranking, and that has to be fixed. And but again, that could just be something that puts more financial burden onto teams and players. So yeah, they got to have a big think about all this. I don't have an easy solution, so I don't want to be overly critical until I say, well, we should have just done it like this. I don't have that we should have done it like this. So I respect the work they're doing. I understand how difficult it is, but this result that's come out of it is a bit of it's a shame. It's that's not cool that, you know, people who are in the 15, 16 seeds, that Gentles and Ranelaghs, even though Bristol, you know, won a tournament, even though Jet Set could win a tournament, they're the 19th and 32 seeds. They didn't knock them out directly. I mean, Bristol did knock out Ranelagh, though. Is that not right? That is correct?
That is correct.
So a game to go, okay, there is some validation because there's a game to go. But it's not treated as a game to go. That's still just one game. And when in the algorithm, it's every point counts. But now this game matters more than anything, even though every other point counts. It gets tricky. Anyways, let's move on. What else?
There was a couple more events to talk about. It was Savage winning the EUCS Summer Tour in Warsaw, and it was Heck winning the EUCF Summer Tour in Stirling. Those were both mixed division events. Don't believe there was a women's division event that was going on this weekend.
Yeah, you know, Savage won, but I'm still confused about this because at 9 o'clock, Tartu Turbulence won over Sky This. And then Tartu Turbulence played again at 10:45 and won against Disco Bolo. And then I don't see Tartu Turbulence playing again. So was this just all pool play and power pools? Because I don't see Savage playing Tartu.
Steph, I can't make sense of what happened.
Tartu beat Fireball. Tartu beat Leftovers. All I see is Tartu destroyed RJP. All I see is Tartu Turbulence wins. That's it.
They did have a loss. They did have a loss. They lost
don't see it.
against. Leftovers. They lost by 2 in their opening game to Leftovers.
Oh yeah, you're yes, 13-11. There it is. Okay, I wonder.
There's not a team here that went undefeated. There's not a team in the tournament that went undefeated. Leftovers had a loss. Savage had a loss. ZU Mixed had a loss. So yeah, no team with an undefeated record.
Okay, and then so there are summer tours remaining. Is that right? No.
Yes, there are.
Next week we're going to
there's 2 more.
Rimini.
Just side note, if we're doing this game to go thing, isn't it kind of crazy that Savage didn't play Tartu in the game to go?
Yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah.
I thought the whole thing we were doing here was the game to go thing.
Yeah, like if those 2 were at the top, why weren't they playing on Sunday?
Yeah, so
I don't understand that. I'm sure Ravi will chime in and let us know, but I don't understand.
We've got 2 more summer tours to go. We've got Summer Tour Rimini, an open and women's division, looking pretty strong there with like Costa Rica. I mean, it's Costa Rica and Quixotes who have a chance in open. Flying Angels Burn as well could be good in women's. Sharks are doing actually really high in the rankings right now. Yaka, I think those teams have a good shot. Fabulous potentially as well. That BFD Cheetah squad. It's hard to know
and
for
then
these
we
BFD
got
teams.
Summer Tour Wrocław, Zoom, KFUM, Terrible Monkeys, Panthers. In the open division, but I think there's a women's division there as
in this
well.
open division,
Jinx,
Steph,
Malmo, Box.
There's not an
KFUM.
obvious.
Only 4 teams there in the women's division.
In this open division as well, there's not
no.
a clear team that's EUCS Div 1 standard. No, like a team's going to steal another bit here.
Yeah, Ravi's in my messages. I have good answers to all your questions, so we'll hear from Ravi soon. If not in the comments, then maybe surely on In and Out next week. Or is it?
I got
is it
one more
still to
question,
come
Ravi.
This week?
Ravi, what happened to UFO, man? What happened to UFO? just one little win against Jets there, man.
He's now even more happy he's tuned in.
Oh my god. Sorry, Ravi.
But
you already proved Steph wrong at Beach last year, so you can rub that in our faces forever, I think.
Yeah, he's got that to lean on. But with that, next week, so there's more action coming up for EUCR rankings from Rimini and Wrocław. There's an EUF event going on right now, Noah.
There is. EYUC is taking place right now.
Right now.
It is in Trnava in Slovakia. You can watch.
Oh wait, maybe it's over. I'm in Canada. I forgot it's evening over there in Europe, so not right now, but this week.
Yeah, I think perhaps the last game is just wrapping up. In Slovakia, there's some streams of the tournament. We have some of wonderful ULTI.TV commentators over there: Hannah Pendlebury, Liam Grant, Benji Reese. You can hear their wonderful voices over on the EUF streams.
Is John Dock over there too?
John Dock as well. I heard his voice on a stream earlier. Was watching a bit of Lithuania versus Austria, which went to Universe Point. That game went 20 minutes over the cap. Some nice, some long discussions there, and an Austrian taking the win. GB in Open, GB Italy and Belgium looking to all have great starts to the tournament. I have had less.
Belgium's
time to
still
look.
Undefeated. Italy and GB have both taken a loss. On the other side, it's the French Open, French boys, we'll say, that are undefeated, while the Swiss and the Czechs are single loss, chomping at their heels. In the mixed division, we've got... we're in the power pools already. So I'm going to go back to initials. Hungary, 2-0, topped their division. The Italians and French went 1-1 each. Swiss topped their pool, 4-0. How is this happening? How did we get a 2-0 pool and a 4-0 pool? These are still power pools. Let's go to initial pools in the mixed. So it was Italy 4-0 to top their pool. Poland were second best in Switzerland, 3-1 and 2-2. And then in Pool B, the French went 4-0, Hungarians 3-1. So the Hungarians got stronger as they went into power pools here. And are we at our crossovers? No, not quite yet. So we're power pools. Power pool C has not played as much as power pool D. I'm sure they'll catch up tomorrow. But Switzerland 4-0, Belgium 4-0. Belgium, that's 2 divisions where they're undefeated and on fire.
Yeah, and then looking at the women's division in pool play, it was Italy going undefeated and France are hot on the heels. We move into crossovers, I believe, tomorrow.
Yeah, and have we had the Italy-France game yet? We have, and Italy won convincingly, 15-7. I remember back to Padova, that was the final, and the French got that win. They were great in that win, I thought. Practically untouchable. But the tides have turned. A lot of those French girls on that team have moved into the adult division. Zoe Forget, Camille Blanc, Swan Lacoste, of course, those are 3 at the very top. But I remember Gledel was there. So they're missing a lot of the women that carried the largest part of the load. But of course, there's good depth in the French youth division, and they're coming strong even still.
Steph, let's look forwards. We have 2 big events very soon up on the horizon. Let's have a look at the 4 Nations. We'll talk 4 Nations first. That is a tournament between England, Ireland, Scotland, and Wales. Taking
Wait a minute, are those 4 different countries?
Well, I mean, that's confusing, Steph. I'm going to say yes, but also no.
Oh, wait. But
it's kind of like,
they play all as one, except for Ireland on the good. It just doesn't make sense. But anyways, yes, the 4 Nations, Noah. The British Isles was what it was going to be called. It's exciting. Up in Scotland, Glasgow, I believe. Yes, It's in Glasgow. Or is it in Edinburgh? No, it's in Glasgow.
Yeah, it's in Glasgow. And I believe we can have a little look at the schedule of those games.
Yeah, there is your tournament schedule. Will be streamed on ULTI.TV. It's an interesting format. 40-minute games or 40-minute time slots. So it is bang pow. You got to get a lead and keep a lead. I hope there's like no timeouts or maximum 1 timeout per team. But they are working through an entire tournament from about midday till 7 or 8 p.m. There you see all the round robins. The final will be at 7:10, 1910. The medal ceremony just after 8 o'clock. Great new concept, I think. I love it. I like they've got themselves a sponsorship by B. They've got some pretty swish looking uniforms. I think it's great. I think it's. I think the best spectatorship in Ultimate is for national teams more than club teams. Everybody gets behind, World Championships, and said we're going to see it at the World Games, and this gives us like a mini version of it. GB didn't qualify for the World Games, and ironically, this event was happening right before World Games happened. So it's quite fitting that these 4 teams have like a mini World Games kind of atmosphere, everything happening on one field. All games will be streamed. They're short, small roster. I think it'll be good drama. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I mean, to give people from out of the UK perspective, I think the power ranking you may expect going into this event is Wales being the 4th team, Scotland perhaps being the 3rd, Ireland being the 2nd, and England being the top team. I mean, England by far the most populous of the 4 nations. But I think that given the short format, anyone could put a fast one on anyone, Steph.
I think so too, and also they've had some stipulations on recruiting where you can have no more than 2 players per club team on this national team. So it avoids, clapping a GB roster as they tend to do. You're not going to get that. I think there's only 1 Clapham player in England, which is Conor Mickael.
Yeah.
So it is a more geodiverse distribution of talent, which maybe, drops the talent a little bit because of it. Anytime you have limitations on recruitment, it does limit your ability to have your absolute strongest team. But I think that's good for the tournament, especially because it'll apply most and potentially only to England. Maybe Ranelagh might, lose a couple players they would have liked for Ireland as well.
Yeah, I'm not sure how deep it goes past England, that rule, but
maybe that's an internal
I think
rule.
The roster just looks like super fun for England. That they've got these little great players from all the different clubs. I think it's much more compelling that than being like a full Clapham roster. And so yeah, I'm super excited about this event, Steph. But I can't lie, coming in the next week, it is not the most excited I will be about a nations event. We have the big one coming up.
I can't wait till World Games. It is the greatest tournament on the calendar. Every 4 years, 3 because of COVID. Coming out of Birmingham, I think we had London Invite this year, which gave us a great setup for it. You'll see on ULTI.TV there's some Meet the World Games players. Make sure you're a member so you can watch those immediately. A lot of the games from London Invite coming out, you can watch them back. But going into this, I've been saying all week, I've been talking a lot of World Games with Evan and Charlie and the Ulti-World crew, Toner and Keith, and there's so much speculation. At the end of the day, what I am saying now is I could pick number 1 and number 8, and I'm not even sure about number 1. I believe the U.S. are the strongest team still. They should be. They have the greatest depth pool, but there's been a lot of speculation about their roster. They did lose at London Invite. They dropped a game. They don't drop too many games. I think they dropped another one in a practice game in the Bay Area this year. They should win, but are we totally convinced like we have been in years past? I don't think so. But number 2 till 7 is a pick'em.
Then pick them then, Steph. I've got this as my challenge to you.
B pool is going to be a bloodbath.
Tell me who you think the second best team at the World Games is.
I am going to go with a little bit of mystery. And my 2 teams that we haven't seen that have a chance are Japan and Colombia. And because I am a huge fan of the Colombian FMP side, I love that the male matching players, MMP side, has gone with a lot of new faces that we haven't seen before. I got such a breath of fresh air out of seeing Buja play with the Tokai Super Team. And I'm like, man, if they've got this guy who was a virtual unknown, and there's at least 2 or 3 other names that are virtual unknowns on that team, if they're going to, hiding a couple players that are sensational, that haven't really broke out of the U.S. or European scene and been seen all over, if they can I always say, the team with the best FMPs is the team that's going to win a mixed tournament. They can get away with more. I feel like MMPs neutralize one another more, and FMPs can really show separation between the top and bottom. For that, I am going to take Colombia as my 2. But, getting through Canada and Australia in the pool play is going to be all hell. Australia defending silver medalists, have won multiple silver medals, played that last tournament without Lada Matos. They have lost Sally Yu and replaced with Georgia Egan Griffith. And this is me dismissing France, who I love. They had a poor London Invite, but they are the most athletic team here. If they can get the coaching, if they can have it put together in those last 2 months, they played at Diskin. They had another game against the Diskin All-Stars, and they thumped them. They have they have captured that lightning in a bottle before, both at beach and under 20s, which there are plenty of players on these teams on the field and on coaching staff that have shared that victory and the ability to beat U.S. teams. And this is me dismissing them. So it is so tough to do. You got to do it. I'll say France is going to lose that pool, and I hate saying it. I hope they prove me wrong. But I don't I love every country in that pool. Colombians are awesome. I love Australia. I lived there for 10 years. Canada's my home nation. I live in France now. I got all sorts of emotional reasons to pick any which one of them. But I do, if I put them in order, I think it's going to go Colombia, Australia, Canada, France. On the other side, I think it's going to be U.S., Germany, Japan, China. And I think, Colombia will get through Germany. U.S. will get through Australia. And I do, unfortunately. No, I don't. I got to say it. Colombia's going to steal the win. Gosh dang it. Changing my mind at the last minute. Colombia's going to upset the USA. Noah, what do you see?
I see. I mean, I'll talk before we forget about a couple more substitutions. You talked in Georgia Egan Griffiths in for Sally U. We heard that Michael Mackenzie is out and coming in is Gagan Chatha for the Canadians. We heard
Ava Borneau
out and coming in Salom Rollet for the French. And I think that is a big hit to the French. I think
Ava Borneau to me is the top FMP for France. So huge hit. Yeah. Huge.
Absolutely massive. And look, Seth, I'm going to go the same way, and I'm going to say it's the Colombians, and here's why. I think there's a compelling, but case about almost every team that aren't the US, even the US. But I think that the Colombians is the weakest. Basically, everyone's fit. Everyone's going to be there. They've gone out very early into China. The other thing I like is that Chengdu is renowned for not being... it's going to be hot. They're going to be more used to that than other teams potentially. It's renowned for being not windy. That's going to favour offense-focused teams. And if you look at those top three teams, it was the Germans who had the... from the last World Games, it was the Germans who had the brilliant defence. It was the Colombians that had the most efficient offence. So you might think that the Colombians are in nice stead there. The Germans, no Garnier. The French, no Borneau. The Canadians were so poor last time round. Japan,
but we're much better at London Invite.
But they were much better at London Invite, it's fair to say.
Mm-hmm.
Japan, on the women's side, their youth is fantastic. But on the men's side, we've got the Matsuno player coaching.
The Matsuno coach selecting factor is a negative for me as well.
It's crazy.
That's what you're saying.
Yeah, and Australia, there's some players that you want them to have as well. You want them to have a prime Tulip, and it doesn't. But Australia came kind of from nowhere last time as well. So
I'm not counting out the Australians. They are
not at all.
I believe they will be better than Canada, but Canada's going to be good too. This is the thing. There's going to the bottom four teams, at least two of them. It's going to be so disappointing. Maybe three of the bottom four are going to be so good that two have not made it. Canada's going to be much better than last year. Every team this time is legit except the host nation, China. And so that makes this the most compelling tournament, maybe ever, as far as I'm concerned. It is really the cream of the crop in Ultimate. I love that it's mixed. I love that it's small roster. I'm going to watch every single minute of every game, and that's what I love about it too, is you really can kind of connect with the teams. You feel the personality. You kind of know these players by the end. You know how they move. You know how they play together. You know what the best connections amidst these teams. You see the clash of styles.
You can meet them all with our Meet the World Games video, where we took gave little interview questions to many of the World Games players who are at London Invite. We've put that together with lots of clips of them playing. I think it's a great way to get to know. And Steph, I believe you're staying in the US or in North America, sorry, and I'm very jealous because I'd love to watch every minute, but I can't lie, the hours are not fantastic for European viewing. It is a early start. It's either a super early rise or a very late night, depending on how you choose to do it. But yeah, I think good luck to all of our heroes who are going to be staying up very late or getting up very early to watch those World Games. I certainly will be doing that.
Yeah.
To wrap up, where I think I'm in the same place in the semis. I think it's USA, Germany. I think it's Colombia, Australia. I have Germany getting the bronze, Colombia 2, and US getting the gold.
And before we do leave, I am just checking in with the chat right now. We got a bunch of people. I'm sorry we have not been checking in with you guys. We will as we go. Ravi's checked in. Felix, some shout outs. No Grajales or Mascara for Colombia, though, which is big. I don't know if I would have had Grajales in there. She was great at WC.
Big disagree. I think she's ridiculously good.
Yeah. She's one-dimensional. She is a big receiver. Defensively, she was a liability. She's a bit slower. She doesn't have the breakaway speed. She's got that size. Yes, okay. I probably in the end would take her, but I still think like when you rank your roster, she's going to be a 6 or 7 on the depth chart for your women. So yes, I would like to have her and have that size and have that skying ability, but I think she is a more replaceable player. So we'll see. They're going to be going for speed more than size, and I think they're going for health as well. So who's in the best form right now? And
that Colombian team, by the way, bringing back in Andres Ramirez, who didn't initially look like he was going to play, and he was pretty good last time, and we expect him to be good again.
Yeah. So with all that said, Noah, I think a great session again. Thanks all for joining us. We keep trying this live. We're gonna stick with it and keep going every week. We are in the heart of the season. So as much as we've touched on a lot of subjects, we can keep going, but we're gonna have to save that for next week. We'll talk World Games and we'll talk a bit more upcoming. We'll recap what happens over the weekend coming, and just keep bringing you this action. Noah, always a pleasure getting on here with you. Thanks so much for your wonderful insights. For that man, Noah Brinkworth, I've been Stefan Ravazzo. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll catch you all next time.